I'm Donna.
And I'm Bruce, and this is Lyrical Wisdom.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Lyrical Wisdom, where we dive into song lyrics and offer heart-based wisdom through our interpretations. If you enjoy what you're hearing, don't forget you can catch every episode of Lyrical Wisdom on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more.
You can also find us on YouTube. Just search Lyrical Wisdom Show. Do you have a song you'd like to hear us shed some light on? You can email us requests, questions, comments to lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Or leave a comment on a YouTube video. We'd really love to hear from you, and all requests get an episode and a shout out.
So join us every Tuesday and Friday as we dig deep and deliver our wisdom. And thank you for sharing, liking, and subscribing to
Lyrical Wisdom.
Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Donna.
What a beautiful day it is here in Georgia. I'm wondering about you.
I'm having another day in paradise. Thank you for asking. And I am really enjoying this morning, that is for sure. So thank you
Yeah.
for that. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know about all of you out there listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. But I sure am enjoying this fall weather. It's fall,
Absolutely.
y'all.
That's really cute. I love that. And yes,
Yeah.
it is such a beautiful day. And I know, yeah, it is fall. And we are actually the temperature today looks like we're getting up to a balmy 49 degrees right now.
Oh,
So
wow. We
yeah.
already had that, and now we're back to almost 80 degrees.
Oh
So,
wow. Love it.
yeah.
Love it.
We really, really get a taste of paradise right before, it turns chilly. But
It turns into, yeah.
paradise can be chilly too, you know,
Yes, it can.
because it's
Yes.
wherever you are and wherever your heart is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that you can use that in a sarcastic way too, but there's a beauty in that because you can say, ah, yeah, just living another day in paradise, and maybe you think of it as like, yeah, that's your joke, but actually it's that cue. It's like a little trigger that is giving you something to remember because just by saying that, think
Hmm.
about it. You're invoking that. You're
Yeah.
encouraging that and you're calling it back in and you're asking for it. And I know that's funny because it's like, haha, gotcha. Even though you're trying to be sarcastic, haha.
Well, I know, Bruce, I am right there with you because I do know how we create our own reality. Everything we see and experience in front of us is our energy is magnetizing to us. And whatever our voice is speaking into is what comes back to us. And that is so apparent now because it's like really fast. I don't
It's
know about
happening very
you,
fast.
but yeah,
Yeah,
things are coming very quickly. You're right. You can just think about being in paradise and all of a suddenly it's like the sun will pop out or
yeah,
that you'll get just a good feeling in your body. It's instantaneous
it is.
how you can change your reality around you just by changing your mindset.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
how many times have we said that on this show? Thank you,
I
Wayne
know.
Dyer. If you
Yeah,
change the way you look at things, hey, the things you look at are changing
they
right
are.
in front of your eyes.
They are. I was walking the dogs one day, it was like a week ago or so, And there was a young lady that had just parked her car in front of this church that was right off of the sidewalk I was crossing the street to. And she just felt compelled to roll down her window and say, "Look at that sun popping out." And I was so just kind of in the moment of walking the dogs and enjoying that moment that I had no idea really what was going on. But I turned my head to my left and I realized that from her view, she could see it rising up above the trees and just bursting through the clouds and coming through the beautiful fall leaves. Those trees were just glowing with that yellow and orange and red. And it was just like I mean, it was almost surreal for a second, with that brightness. And then as my eyes adjusted, I realized how beautiful that moment was, how lucky I was to be able to photograph that in my mind and just live in it
Mm,
every time I think about it. But it's just
yeah.
like what you said. I was so immersed in what I was experiencing, and I know that's a beautiful thing. But I would have noticed the sun, but in a more like I call it like I think I'm thinking a peripheral way, and by really just taking a moment to soak it in. Boy, howdy, did that make a difference? Like, I don't know how to tell you. And that's why I believe in what we're talking about, Donna. I just like went off on a rant there, you guys, but I really believe in what we're talking about because when you change the way you look at things, and sometimes if you let your imagination take you there, by that, almost by proxy, you are going to then experience that in your reality because suddenly you are so focused in your imagination on these beautiful and amazing things. Well, there are times when you're going to open your eyes and realize it's right in front of you, because you're calling
Yes.
that in. It's becoming a part of your magnet, exactly
Hmm.
like what Donna said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a way of thinking of, life is bigger. Life
Hmm.
is bigger.
Yes, it sure is. And let's not lose any more time.
No, let's not lose any more time.
We
We have
can,
a,
yeah,
we could,
beautiful, beautiful song for you today.
we do.
Yeah. But I do want to remind you all that you can listen to these songs that we are presenting to you on our list that Allison has created on Spotify. We have a free playlist for you called,
Lyrical wisdom songs
yes, Lyrical Wisdom Songs on Spotify.
on Spotify. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Check it out. And you can listen to these podcasts on YouTube, on Spotify, on Amazon. We're getting big, Bruce. I love it.
We're really getting out there, you guys. So like, if you think you've got some sort of obscure streaming listening service, bring it on. We are on so many right now. One of our well, I think it's a lot of things come together, but Allison, our sound engineer, is amazing and finds these places to go and stuff. And so we are very lucky to be out there on a lot of different services. So if you
Yes.
think it's really obscure, go ahead and challenge us. And if we are not on your list of what you can like tap into, hit us up, give us a shout, and like let us know what your streaming service is so that there might be a possibility we can connect with that. Like I know that sounds weird, like you're like, well, I'm on a different service right now and I got to like tap into something totally different than what would be really easy for me to use. Go ahead and, give us a shout and tell us about it, because why not? We're on a lot of places though. Just if you already know, then you already got it. But yeah,
Yeah. And remember on YouTube, it's called Lyrical Wisdom Show.
Lyrical Wisdom Show.
Lyrical Wisdom Show. I I also wanted to say thank you, each and every one of you, for liking and subscribing on YouTube because it really does help us out. And we please, please, please send us a request. Remember, you can always email us too at
lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. And I know that sometimes it can be hard to find us like on YouTube, but don't worry, we are there. I think that the tag on Lyrical Wisdom 88 is the tag that's on YouTube, but I'm not quite exactly sure. But if you need to, Lyrical Wisdom Show, we got a lot of options that'll pop up. Lyrical Wisdom songs, definitely able to find that. If you think about the two things that we do, you won't be able to go wrong. Lyrical Wisdom
Hmm.
Show. Oh, I like to listen to those guys. And Lyrical Wisdom songs. Oh, yeah, we finally get to listen to the songs they're talking about. Woohoo! So I think we're really coming along. So thank you. Just like I'm going to lose my religion here, talking about other things, and we need to get to this song, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, that was perfect, Bruce. Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you. Yeah. We have a song today, and it is Losing My Religion by R.E.M. Losing My Religion by R.E.M. Oh, life is bigger. It's bigger than you, and you are not me. The links that I will go to, the distance in your eyes. Oh no, I've said too much. I set it up. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough. I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. Every whisper of every waking hour, I'm choosing my confessions, trying to keep an eye on you. Like a hurt, lost and blinded fool, fool. Oh no, I've said too much. I set it up. Consider this, consider this, the hint of the century. Consider this, the slip that brought me to my knees. Failed. What if all these fantasies come flailing around? Now I've said too much. I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. But that was just a dream. That was just a dream. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough. I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try, but that was just a dream. Try, cry, fly, try. That was just a dream, just a dream, just a dream. Dream. Cool song.
wow, yeah. I think I need to let that kind of sink in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, life is bigger.
Yes, yeah. That
So,
is, yeah.
oh, life is bigger. In other words,
Oh boy.
wow, I'm realizing in this very moment how big life really is.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how expansive, how incredibly expansive and encompassing. One of the things that I love about this song is that I remember listening to it and you don't feel like all of that time is going by because in a way, the way that he starts out with life is bigger, it's bigger than you, and you are not me. That's another whole thing that I want to go down. However, life is bigger. It's bigger than you. We think of all of the things that are associated with life. And one of those things that I just occurred to me, I was like, well, the song is, it's so funny how it kind of goes through very flowing, and you get kind of picked up with it and don't realize that it's a pretty long song. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is actually a little bit of time that goes by when you're listening to it, like you don't realize that. And that's why I think that we have a moment listening to the song saying life is bigger, it's bigger than you, because time is just a concept. And so that realization in that moment, that like that time went by, that you almost feel like you didn't realize it was going by. It's like, oh well, yeah, because we make that concept, we create that so
Mm.
that we can understand what we're living in a little bit easier, because it is so much bigger than we are. And I was like, wow, I'm just like looping on that idea, because I was like, wow, yeah, life is huge in that way. It's so all encompassing in that way of, you know, like we get kind of in that groove where we're thinking about, I got to be here at 9:30, then I got to go there, I got to get to there at like 11, got to make sure I pick up such and so and so, and this has to happen like that. And it just seems like time is like one of those funny things that with this song, I feel like it just flows right through, and then it's done, and you're like, wow, I just rode that wave.
Well, it's almost like you get lost in the song.
Yes, thank
And
you.
the title of this song is so intriguing because it doesn't once mention what most people define as religion. Um, there really isn't anything about God in here unless God is the you are not me and the distance in your eyes. And unless, REM is speaking to God as the other person. In other words, I can't find you. You're getting so far away from me. For me, religion is within. It is in your heart, wherever you find that essence that we know as God, as,
I'm as I'm
love,
Yeah,
as source, as
yeah.
creator, as Allah, as Buddha, as all of those names that we give it.
Yes, yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's one of the things that I love about this song, is that there's certain parts of it where just that very first, and I feel like I realize that with a lot of songs that we read and talk about on our show, Donna, is that they start with something sometimes just like smacking you in the face. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what this whole thing is all about right here in this very first, either one or two or sentences or paragraph, whatever you call it. Like, we could make it the haiku name, but I'm joking. But no, but I like, we can call it what it is. It just seems like it just hits you right off the bat, and it gets you, and it puts you right on the right groove. And that's what this starts with, is it's bigger than you. And I think it's for those exact reasons that you just mentioned. It's so true, because losing my religion, like, religion can be a lot of things to a lot of different people. And you know some people feel like, no, it has to be this, and that's fine. Okay, that's your religion. And that's the thing, is it's almost like it's those the rhythm that we get into, and the order of things that we do in our rituals every single day become a little bit of our religion every single day. And it's
Mm-hmm.
much like, that's why I love the fact that it's life is bigger, bigger than you, and you are not me. Like, exactly like you said, the way that it leads into that is that, these are things that are different for every single individual person, even the people that feel like they have their own tribe or clan or whatever you want to call it, who are, they feel like they have a group of people that they resonate with. Each person in that group is totally different from each other. And so that's another reason why I think this is such a huge beginning like that. And you are not me. The lengths that I will go to, the distance in your eyes. And it's like really profoundly like different descriptions of having this kind of a conversation with somebody, that maybe, right when those things come out of one person's mouth, the other person is like, all right, you're going to go to those lengths to try to kind of convince me of what you're talking about, but you can see in my eyes that I'm just not following you. And that can be, a part of that. But I also think that it can be a part of what what we also, like you said, losing our religion, life being so huge, how we all have these things that we feel so close to, and then, you know, they're just a little bit different from each other. And sometimes, you know, maybe we don't like it doesn't seem like it's always like as resonating with it between each other, but it's so close, you know, it's so close to being like the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of seeing it as the self, you
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
that is religion. And as you lose the self, meaning that in duality, the ego part, the part that does, want the links that I will go to. In other words, the one that wants to be loved, to be accepted, to be, that what they think is what they want to be.
Yes.
I know that that sounds so vague, but I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say here is life is bigger. It's
Yeah.
bigger than you, and you are not me, meaning there is in this beautiful tapestry of the one, there is this beautiful essence of individuality, which is what brings in the beauty. So, therefore, what I think and what I believe is my religion is not the same as what you believe and your religion is. Um, some people go to great lengths to try to get people to follow their religion.
Yes.
And, it causes that. And you can see the distance in their eyes because
Yes.
you're kind of like pushing them away. And that's when he says, "Oh no, I've said too much."
Yes. I couldn't like, yeah, that's again, I love how you can bring things together because that's exactly what I was thinking. And then, oh no, I've said too much. I set it up, you know, meaning, okay, I kind of pushed this too far.
Right.
And, and I know that that can be like this whole thing kind of like, I love how you said that, the self. I think that's critical because one of the things that I realized listening to you read the song is that it's a conversation with somebody between themselves. Like they're also having this conversation into a mirror,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's where we go to, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you. And I don't know if I can do it. You know, like
Mhm.
I feel like that's it. I love how you did, Donna. That was amazing how you literally used the lyrics in the way you were explaining how you felt about what it was saying. That was amazing because that's how I feel like this is going through kind of the same conversation. They're having the same conversation basically with themselves. And it is pointing, and I felt that when you were reading it at first. And then here, I think it goes a little bit more pointedly that they're saying this almost, you know, really to themselves and describing, like what you were saying, their own individuality, their own self, and how they are, you know, kind of their their song,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah, that's so true. And I love this because, I mean, here I am thinking that's me in the corner. Okay. But how
Yeah.
many times, I mean, I don't know about you, Bruce, but back in the day when you were bad, you would have to stand in the corner. So
Yep.
for me, this is him saying sometimes I'm bad, sometimes I'm not so good. Sometimes I do things that I'm not proud of. And
Yeah.
that's me in the spotlight. There's other
Yeah.
times when, hey, I have, I'm shining bright, I'm doing good, I'm being out there, I'm expressing myself in beautiful ways, I'm being a spotlight. I'm losing my religion, trying to keep up with you. And this is for me that essence of everybody is on their own individual path.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I couldn't feel that more. I'm yes. And then, you know, that's why I love because then he says, I don't know if I can do it. And that's to me kind of that little tip off, if you will, that the conversation's not just happening as he's singing it out loud, but it's also in the mind, in the body. It's, you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
his own, the conversations having with, like you said, with the self. This is a bigger a, a bigger a deeper conversation, if you will. And then I love that, like, because then, and I don't know if I can do it. I feel like that
Life.
really
I don't
ties
know
it.
if I can do life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no, I've said too much.
Yeah.
And
I
then on
haven't
the
said
other
enough.
hand, I haven't said enough. Such beautiful lyrics, really.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's so incredibly descriptive and clear in how it kind of moves through these things. And also it ties together a lot of the things that I know we probably talk about so much on the show.
Hmm.
Um, because, then here's the part that I really love when I hear this song. And now reading it like this, it's kind of interesting because I feel like it is giving me a little bit of a different meaning now. I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. How do you take that?
Mm. Once again, speaking to the self,
Yeah.
there's times when there is joy in his life. I thought I heard you laughing. I thought I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. In other words, I
Yeah.
know there's been times when I've really tried to do this thing called life, to make it through
Yeah.
all those bumps in the roads without getting so distressed and so anxious and so angry and all of those
Yeah.
things that, disturb.
Yeah. No,
That's how I see
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Yeah.
I agree. I think like a lot of this, it has so much to do with it's exactly what you were talking about, how it's like really tied into speaking to the self, having that conversation with the self. And and that's the thing, is that like you know, I'm I'm fascinated by the fact that when we communicate, there's so much of our communication that happens without us speaking. We have body language, as they call it. And I think that that is a deeper thing. I don't think it's quite as simple as trying to read what people are trying to say in that way. And I think that's a part of what this song kind of just touches on a little bit. And that is that the way that we feel about how somebody is acting, sometimes that's
Oh,
us, that's
yeah.
ours, that is just simply ours. And we are having that conversation inside of us. Is that person really those things? Well, that is debatable at this point, because it's the things that are happening in the self that are creating that
Oh,
emotion,
yeah.
that feeling. And so we are basically creating what is happening outside by, thinking, oh, this is happening. And then there it is. It's like we're creating that. And so, if you really, it can be sometimes difficult to say these things when we are in our own mind and in our own body, in our head. I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. It's like, well, what is really happening here? And at the end, he finally kind of admits it. I think,
Hmm.
I don't know, because how do we really know? Unless you're actually inhabiting that other person's body, mind, and spirit, then you'll know for sure. But that's a tricky one. And so I would say, I think that just like we were talking about, this is really about having that conversation in the self. And every whisper of every waking hour, I'm choosing my confessions. I feel like
Yeah.
that it says it right there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I love the way they chose whisper,
Yes.
because it is in that stillness and in that silence when you can really feel and understand and be able to look inside yourself,
Yes.
so it's
Yeah.
it's every whisper of every waking hour. So in other words, every moment there is behind it is your thoughts, your creation, and therefore you can choose. I'm choosing my confessions. Trying to keep an eye on you. It's like that that big self, that spiritual self coming through, whispering, I'm here. I've got you. You know what I'm saying? It's the
Yeah.
divine self that is a part of all of us,
Yes.
trying
I,
to
I
keep an
couldn't
eye on you.
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's funny because it's also kind of like, to me, it reminds me of the Dr. Seuss book, Horton Hears a Who, where
Yes.
they're on this tiny, they're on that tiny little world, and that tiny little world to the, that creature that's huge, and hearing it for that first time outside of it is looking at this thing as a tiny little world. But to those people in that world, that's their entire universe. And
Yeah.
they're yelling out as loud as they can, we are here, we are here, and I think that's kind of like how sometimes we can think of this, like is that, this is the part where it's like trying to give you that, like that nudge. And the weirdest thing is that, like, you know, how did Horton figure out that he could listen and hear them?
Hmm.
We have to, like, it's in the book and in the Dr. Seuss book, it definitely, I don't think, is quite as I don't want to say complicated, but it can be a lot of that kind of feeling of tapping into that, like, it's a silent voice in there sometimes where we just feel that gentle nudge somewhere. It's such a subtle breeze, and we're suddenly like, oh, I should try that, like that gut instinct. There's so
Yeah.
many ways of calling it, but it's so weird how, like, if we don't, like, take a step back and allow ourselves to hear it, then of course Horton wouldn't have heard the Who. That
Yeah.
it would be impossible to hear those things because there are so many things that are trying to, like, distract us in the background. You know, um, I love how you said that because it's like that whisper, every whisper, and it's, we all have those choosing my confessions. I'm choosing the things, that I'm thinking about, trying to keep an eye on you. And then it's the acknowledgement, or I'm going to ask you to tell me what you think about, like a hurt, lost, and blinded fool. And then he goes into, oh no, I've said it. I've said too much. I set it up. And I wonder, like, if that's kind of like how that was feeling when they were trying to keep an eye on you, that moment in the lyrics there. It's like a heart, like a hurt, lost, and blinded fool. um what do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah. It's him acknowledging that side of himself that, every now and then, like a hurt, a lost and blinded fool,
Yeah.
fool. And then it's, oh no, I've said too much. Because when you go into those places and stay in the hurt and think you're a lost and blinded fool, you stay there. And I think
Yeah.
this is that I've said too much. I set it up. In other
Yeah.
words, the more I am in this and say this, the more I bring it to me. I set
Yes.
this up. I set
I
it
created
up.
this. Yeah.
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 Yeah. This
Yeah.
is, oh no, I set it up. Consider this. Consider this the hint of the century. I love that because it's like, this is big.
Yeah.
And yet it's just a hint. It's just something. I call them golden nuggets, you know?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
it's a little something you get every now and then that is just, you know, it's like, yes. I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
what he's trying to say here. Consider this, the hint of the century. Consider this, the slip
Hmm.
that brought me to my knees failed. What if all these fantasies come flailing around? Now I've said too much.
I love that. And I love how you, like, I think one of the things that I love about it, and how you had pointed out, I love this golden nugget here, is that the hint of the century consists the slip that brought me to my knees failed? What if these fantasies come flailing around? There's this kind of acknowledgement of something that, somebody has learned from. And that's a part of what I feel like is this kind of this really gift, if you will. Because in this moment, they're saying, hey, consider this. This is the hint of the century. There's going to be slip ups, there's going to be mistakes, and this is going to bring you to your knees, and you're going to feel like you've totally failed. And in many cases, some things are not exactly successes, but we don't need to necessarily attribute it to a failure. We could just say, okay, that wasn't a success, that didn't work out. And then what if all these fantasies come flailing around? It's kind of like, I think that hint and that golden nugget in a way is you're going to learn from your mistakes.
Hmm.
That's what I kind of feel like is being, and I don't know if that's the complete message there necessarily, but I would say that's, to me, that's a part of it. And then now I've said too much again, you know, that kind of like idea, well, I guess this might be a little, not necessarily controversial, but not something that this other person maybe totally agrees with, or that they're kind of even struggling with their themselves. They're like, I'm trying to convince myself these things. It like, looking at themselves in the mirror, it's going to be okay, because you made a mistake. That's what happens. Okay, and then they're like, well, what if these things come flailing around again? Like, what if they come back? It's hard to lose that. I feel like, that's where that kind of golden nugget could be just a little bit maybe hinting at.
Yes, there is so much in this. What I am getting to is, like you're saying, it's what if these
Yeah.
fantasies come flailing around? What if I start laughing again? What if I start singing? What if I start trying? In other
Yeah.
words, I'm feeling my failure. I'm on my knees. I'm in the darkest dark part of my life.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
if these fantasies come back? It's like I keep and I think what it is that it's what life is. It keeps coming. And that's what he's saying is, I'm coming around, I'm doing it because I thought I heard you laughing. I thought I heard
Yeah.
you sing. In other
Yeah.
words, you have all these happy moments. So, now I've said too much. Meaning,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
calling in all these fantasies again, and I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
think I'm there, but I
Yeah.
keep falling to my knees. And like you said, Bruce, it is in those moments when we call those fantasies back in, when we can get up and laugh, when we can get up and sing and dance and feel the joy in the body that the growth comes in.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
next fall won't hurt so bad. The
Yeah.
next
No.
fall
Yeah.
won't be as deep, won't be as hard. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's the process of trying, and then you push yourself so far, and then maybe you don't quite get to where you want to be, but you're going to get a chance to start again, and then you're going to push yourself, and the next time, because of the things that you've learned, then you go farther. And it's a repetitive process, and that's a thing that it's hard sometimes, because sometimes to have to repeat something over and over again can be unpleasant. you know but that's the thing, is that
And
is
yeah, that's the way life is. And I think
yeah.
that's what's so beautiful about this song because that's
Yeah,
what they're saying. You
because
know,
it was just a dream.
it was just a dream.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah, yeah.
was just a dream.
Yeah, because that's what
And
life really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people talk about, what is reality, what is real, that we're living in a dream. And
Yeah.
that, when we wake up, then we can let all of this go. We can let go of being in the corner, being
Yes.
in the spotlight, and losing my religion,
Yeah.
trying to keep up with you.
with the whole world out there that we think that we need to try to keep up with. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who knows if we could do it. But, we're not going to say, oh no, we've said too much. We're going to embrace that because that's what we're here for. But, that's the thing is that, I really feel like I agree with you. That's when sometimes we wake up and we're kind of stuck in that, I want to call it programming sometimes, but also just in that groove. And, that's where we can think that we hear ourselves laughing or singing, or we think that even we saw ourselves try because, we know that part of us in our own, living our own, another day in paradise. Sometimes we see ourselves laughing and singing and trying to do stuff that we enjoy. Or we can, we're in that groove where we're like, I thought I heard somebody laughing at me. I thought, I heard somebody singing and they're happy. I think I thought I saw somebody try. It's like we kind of associate that with us not being able to be in some of those zones, and that's one thing. But yeah, it's really like just a dream. It's all just kind of a dream, and in that way, like how we kind of create that dream and we set that up. Wow, it's like using all the lyrics of the song for every
Yeah.
explanation. I feel like that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
because
how
he
we
acknowledges it. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 And I thought I heard you laughing. I thought I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try, but that was just a dream. And then those words, like very specifically singled out, and
Hmm.
try, cry, fly, and then try again. And I really think that's a very pointed, there's a very good reason for that. And I think that's just because, like, I don't want to say that we have to try every day. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but it's like I know that there is a way of trying and not trying, but trying at the same time. And I don't know how to describe that except that, like, when you're in a moment where everything seems to be like totally synced and you're like flowing, and everything is, like you feel like everything's working out your way and the sun is shining, whatever it might be, but everything is just harmonious. And that's where I feel like we are in that zone of we're trying, but we're not really trying, but we're still trying. Like it's kind of like a threesome there of try. And I think it all kind of works out in a way because it becomes organic, subconscious, like the heartbeat, where we're not actually thinking about our heart beating, but it does it for us. Um, so I don't know. That's where I kind of think of that try in this, because like I think it can be defined in different ways that aren't always positive. The
Well,
word
I
try.
think I know. And I think that's what they're trying to say here, though, is try. Because if you don't cry, I mean, if you don't try, then how can you have the experience to cry?
Yeah, yeah,
How, if you don't try, how can you have the experience to fly?
yeah,
You
yeah,
have to try to be able to experience life. If you don't try at all, then there will be no life. There the
yeah,
it's in the understanding of this beautiful thing we call life, that the crying and the flying is so profound in who and what we really are as
absolutely.
spirit, as just divinity that doesn't have the physicality that we have and the emotions to
Yeah,
cry and to feel so elated that you feel like you're flying.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It is a gift, and it's forgotten, when you're actually in the moment of anger, you forget that it's a gift. When you're in a moment of
Yeah,
frustration,
yeah.
sometimes we can forget it's a gift, but it
But that
really and
was
truly
just a
is.
dream.
That was
And
just a
there's
dream.
just a dream,
Yeah,
just a dream, dream. And that is for me so beautiful because we all know that dream dream a little dream, dream big, dream your
Yeah.
life away, meaning
Yeah.
just allow the dreams to grow and be because you create all this. Yes, it's a dream. How big can you dream?
Yes. Yes. How big can, how much can you try to really enjoy that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a funny thing because it's true. I I think that sometimes we take for granted the effort we make just to get out of bed every day,
Mm-hmm.
just to be able to see things and breathe the air and just to do things. It's like it's kind of funny how we can kind of look at certain efforts that we make and kind of take it for granted. And I say that not because I think, oh, bad us. No, it's just that you get into such a groove that these natural things aren't trying anymore. And it's wonderful to know that like you're experiencing this beautiful life without trying. But then there are things that we need to try for because otherwise, just like you said, we don't get to experience some of the things that we really, really feel. And that is that beautiful connection with our reality and our emotions, you know?
Yeah. 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 It's beautiful. And losing my religion, I understand it now in a totally different way.
Boy,
Step
howdy.
out of the box. Wake up
Yeah.
to who you really are.
Yeah.
Don't let that, what you believe religion is define you. You're
Uh, Yeah. And
bigger
don't let,
than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Life is
Life is so much
bigger.
bigger.
Yeah.
And you are worth the effort and you are also worth the acknowledgement of yourself and all of the things, good or bad, because from this moment on, the minute you wake up every day, from that moment you take the next breath, your life is restarting.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to define yourself by your past. You know,
Correct.
you
Amen.
can yes, you can definitely look that every single breath that comes again is a fresh and new you, and you can be whatever it is you want to be, especially moving forward, because your past doesn't have to define you.
Yeah.
Yes, you can have a master's degree or a PhD, and hooray, you know what I mean? That can be part of what you can do and things like that. But that doesn't, there's other parts that you understand, I'm sure, that just they don't define you, because just like this song kind of helps us see the mistakes are learning and
Yeah.
we are going to have them
And
and
growth
we are yeah and we are
and
better for
beauty.
them.
Yeah.
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 Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Bruce. And thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us here today on
Lyrical
Wisdom.